Welcome back, everybody. Guess what we're doing today? We are canning ground beef. I found a sale at the store and got quite a bit of it, so I'm hoping I can at least get one canner full. If not, then I'm going to freeze the rest. But what we need to do first whenever you're looking to can ground beef, you need to brown it just a little bit to take the pink out. And it's recommended to do this because if you don't, there's a potential that it could clump in the jars and then there would be too much airspace in between, leaving room for bacteria to grow. So what we're going to do is we're going to brown this up and just a little bit, and then we're going to pour some boiling water in it with a little bit of salt, and we'll put it in our canner. So I'll show you how to do all of that. This is the book that I'm using to get the recipe from, and I checked all of my books and they all say the exact same thing, that you need to brown it just enough to get the pink out of it first. Once your beef has been browned slightly, now it doesn't have to be completely cooked all the way, I use a ladle that has slots in it to get a majority of the grease out of it. And then I just let that drip for a second or two before I ladle it into my jars. And instead of just pouring water over top of this to the 1-inch headspace, we are going to use beef bouillon in our water. I have this tool here. Usually we use it for sauerkraut making, but I do use it for this process too. And I'm not going to tamp it down hard. I just want to get it packed into the jar to get rid of that airspace that's in there, because then I can fit more into each jar. And then just continue this process until your jars are full. Don't forget that you want your jars hot before you start packing these, because we're adding hot liquid to it and we're putting it in a hot pressure canner. So I don't have the water boiling in the pressure canner because you don't want it boiling when you stick the jars in, but it is very hot water. We're getting there, almost done. Once you have filled your jars, you want to ladle whatever liquid you're using. You can use, like I said, water, beef bouillon in the water, or you can even use tomato juice too. You know, it just all depends on what you want to use. Fill it up to a 1-inch headspace, and then make sure you take your knife and run it down along the edges of each jar to get all the bubbles out. You want to take a wet paper towel or a wet rag, whatever you're using. You want to get the grease off of each rim. I usually do water first, and then I will take vinegar and go around each one as well, just because of how greasy beef can be. You don't want to go through all of this work to have your jars not seal. So go ahead and do this process, and then we'll put them in the canner. Once your jars are completely wiped off, go ahead and place your lids on, and then take your rings and finger tight, guys. That's it, just finger tight. Trust me, any tighter than that and then your lids will buckle. I've had it happen before. When you are ready to put them in the canner, it is straight up and into your pressure canner. Make sure you follow the guidelines for your canner. Make sure you have enough water in it. Make sure you have the shelf piece that goes into the bottom as well. Make sure to inspect your lid before you put it on your pressure canner to can. Make sure your ring is in good tact. Make sure your emergency release valve is connected and together, and that this piece goes up and down. And make sure that you can see light through that hole, okay, that you don't want that plugged up. My jars are in the canner. I'm going to put my lid on. I am then going to let this vent from here for 10 minutes. You'll see steam come out of that. 10 minutes is all the longer you want that to come out. Once that has reached the 10-minute point, for us at my elevation, I have to use 15 pounds of pressure. And we will let this in the pot at 15 pounds of pressure for an hour and 15 minutes. Now, if you are doing quarts, it would be an hour and a half, but for what I'm processing is the pint, it's going to be an hour and 15 minutes.